Hey guys, and welcome back. So we got an interesting video today. Let me get this lump off. Oh, there he is. We've got your top 10 interesting facts on this guy in the bag, the diamond python. Now I've got a little bit of a spin on it. It's not going to be what you expect from any other channels where you've watched top 10 fact videos. This guy is actually going to be released. I got him a couple days ago. He'd climbed up the second story of a house and was up in the joists of the veranda. Where I got him from, it's such a tricky spot for release. Let me show you. Let me set my phone down and I'll see if we can have a look on the camera here. Hopefully this will focus on my phone. Let's have a look here. So basically, this road here was where I got the python from. You can sort of tell he's only had this tiny little bush corridor which goes around like that and goes up into the wilderness area here. I obviously can't release him back around there because it's all farmlands and it's all private property, and I don't really feel like getting shot by a grumpy farmer. So what I've done, I've actually come up the top of the mountain. I've released snakes here before and it's quite treacherous, it's quite wilderness, and it's going to be very tricky to get close to the release site where I want to release him, but I'm going to give it a crack. From there where he was caught, I'm up here up the top of the mountain. We're going to try and trek down here to about, let's put a pin, to about the middle here. Hopefully we can get to about there. And that way, he's right near where he was captured. He's in the same habitat, the same home range. And worst case, if he really wants to, he can go back around to his little bush corridor and go back to where he was. Or he can come further up the mountain. But it's going to be interesting to get down there. I'm probably going to land on my ass a couple times. And then we can really get stuck into these facts that I've put together for you guys. And to make it even harder, this is one of the biggest diamond pythons I've ever seen. It's going to be like carrying a 10-kilo dumbbell down a bloody cliff, and it ain't going to be easy. So I'll see you guys bits and pieces along the way, but I hope we can get pretty close. It's going to be interesting. May as well get started, eh? Oh. And away we go. I thought this would hopefully be one of the easiest ways to get down. Find one of the valleys, the gullies that were on the map to sort of lead me down quicker. And there's obviously going to be less shrubbery, less bush to work through because there's no track down here. Wouldn't it be sick if we find something else along the way, especially another diamond? We obviously ain't getting down there, so... Oh, there's a cool cave here. Bear with me. Hang around, guys. Make sure you hang around because this is going to rip a video. Like when we get stuck into these facts and having a look at this big bad snake in the video, you guys are going to be pretty gobsmacked. Look at this. This is why I never ever mind trekking to release these snakes and these animals in the best spot possible, because you just come across like things like this. Just things that absolutely blow your mind. Never gets old. Everything you come across, every different spot is completely different, completely new experience. I'm going to keep powering down the hill and I'll see you shortly. Look at this. How cool. And have a look at this. Spots like this. This is exactly where you get your brown tree snakes. Whoa. Your boyga irregularis, they love, they adore living in and amongst all these little cracks and crevices, the honeycombing throughout the sandstone. I wouldn't be surprised if other snakes utilise it too, maybe baby diamonds. I've had a little bit of a look, I don't have all the time in the world, but I haven't been able to spot one. But I'd bet my bottom dollar there'd be a couple hiding in here laughing at me, especially in those high tessellations that I can't actually get to. How cool is that? What a spot. Getting fairly close, because look at this, it's getting so dense now. I'm sort of going to go up over that ridge and find the next escarpment, and that's going to be home for this guy, because we're getting pretty close and I'm wrapped up, I can't even move. And I told you I'd come a gutter somewhere, you just missed it. Need to wear one of them chest things. And I've come to a bit of a clearing here, so just having a bit of a break. I'm actually on top of like a bush turkey nest, but I'll show you guys where we're at. It's actually super close. You can see down here's where I got him from, And around here was where I wanted to get. So we're actually so much closer than I thought I'd actually get to. I'm right near that. I've come all the way from up there. All I need now is just a nice spot that I can send him into, a nice bit of escarpment, and then he can go from there. He's not going to stay there. He'll keep moving on, but I just want a nice, decent spot to send him into. I can't believe we're this far as it is. Need to get him out of the bag, and then we get stuck into the interesting stuff. Sorry for keeping you guys so long. Sun's coming low, so we need to get rid of him. How cool is this? That's a full, empty, hollow log. And there's so many little spots for him to hide in and under. There's another big tree up here. So this might be the spot, eh? There's more there. He can pop out there. That'll be hollow too. So that might be perfect for him just for the next night or two to curl up in and then go on. There's creek system down there, which is gonna have the escarpment. And then if he keeps heading down here, that's gonna be where he came from. Only another couple 100 meters away, so hopefully he knows exactly where he is. Let's get him out of the bag and get stuck into it, eh? Now finally, let's have the first look, eh? He's been stinging to get out of the bag the entire way. I don't know how I'm gonna go filming this because I know he's just gonna wanna keep moving. And there he is. Look at that. Isn't that an absolute whopper of a diamond python? An absolutely stunning example. Look at the colors, the blacks, the yellows, the creams, and he's an absolute behemoth. This guy has been living large down there at the back of the farms. He's probably been in barns and sheds just smashing rats, easy feeds. He's got a big head on him, big body. It's not all that common you see diamond pythons get this large. They tend to stay a bit smaller than a lot of the other carpet pythons, but it's always a pleasure when you get a big monster like that. Now we can finally get to our 10 interesting facts, our 10 things you guys probably didn't know about diamond pythons. A lot of the usual watchers you guys will probably know. You guys are reptile obsessed. But for any other watchers, let's get stuck into it. Now, diamond pythons are just one subspecies of the carpet python. These guys are known for their distinctive diamond patterns and glossy yellow and black scales. Now, there are actually 5 subspecies in the Morelia spilota genus. Obviously, you got these guys, the diamond python, Morelia spilota, coastal carpet python, Spilota mcdowelli or mcdowelli. You got the Murray-Darling carpet python, Spilota metcalfi, the jungle carpet python, Spilota cheney, which I've also had the pleasure to come across. I've come across jungle pythons, coastal carpet pythons, and of course diamond pythons. And the last subspecies, which we unfortunately missed out on a recent trip, is the Darwin carpet python, Morelia spilota variegata. Not too long ago, there was actually a 6th subspecies, the southwest carpet python, Morelia spilota imbricata. That's recently been elevated to its own species, so it's just Morelia imbricata now. There's actually much debate around whether these guys should be subspecies of each other or elevated to their own species for each python. In the more recent IPA publications, they'll even determine these guys as races rather than subspecies. This is just due to lack of genetic difference throughout the different subspecies. I guess we'll just have to wait for more scientific and genetic research in the future. Won't we, big fella? All right, fact number 2. Out of all the Australian carpet pythons, this guy is the most southerly occurring species. But even more impressive than that, this guy is the most southerly occurring python species in the entire world. These guys are found along the southeastern coast of New South Wales and even as south into the freezing eastern edge of Victoria. Fact number 3, due to these pythons living so far south, they obviously have to tolerate quite chilly environments and temperatures. So you'll notice how dark these guys' patternings can be, but you come across some there almost jet black with nearly no yellows. And obviously that darkness is going to help to soak up as much sun as possible, really warm these guys up and be efficient as possible, essentially like a solar panel. When you go more south, you'll notice they have a lot more black. If you go up the mountains where it's a bit cooler, they'll have a lot more black on them. It really just depends. As you go further north into the warmer climates, you'll notice these guys lose a lot of their black. They have a lot more of the mottled yellows and browns, especially once you hit the crossover with the coastal carpet pythons in northern New South Wales. Now, something incredibly interesting these diamond pythons is the occurrence of mating balls. Essentially a big congregation of male snakes trying to breed with a single female. Unfortunately, I've not had the pleasure to witness this, but I'll probably chuck a picture in. Jesse from Jesse's Wildlife, he got to see one a few years ago. It was absolutely wild. It was down by the water somewhere, and it was just a phenomenal sight. I even had someone post on the local Facebook page not too long ago. It was like, hey guys, has anyone seen this before? Is it normal? This was a few years ago in my garage, and it was, and it, bear with me. And that's how they climb a tree. Ooh, he actually had me good there. As I was saying, it was literally a mating ball in her garage. Now, wouldn't that be phenomenal to see? I really, really hope in my lifetime I'll be able to come across these guys in that behaviour. You guys are kinky little devils, eh? Now, on to fact number 5. Diamond pythons exhibit maternal brooding, a behaviour which is so uncommon in most reptiles. After laying, the female will tightly coil around her eggs and even begin to shiver. Shivering thermogenesis basically generates heat and keeps the eggs at such a stable temperature. This is just perfect for these guys, especially the ones that are down in the colder temperatures, the colder climates. They can literally keep their eggs at a stable temperature, whether it's hot, whether it's cold. And being able to do this significantly increases the hatchling survival rate. Now, as you guys know, that's 5 facts that this snake's had to listen to, and he's like, I know, I am one. I'm hearing about it, let me go. I don't like to bother and stress out our snakes too much, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna walk back down here, and we're gonna send him into his log, and we're gonna see if he likes it, because the sun's dropping behind the mountains there. We're not at the Blue Mountains, but that is the Blue Mountains, so once that goes down, it's gonna be pretty dark. I need to try and get out of here. Now, I betcha any money, I'll send him into his log here, and he'll either just pop up the other side or pop back out and keep going on his way, because he's just so active. Alrighty, dude. And they never ever like where I send them to. There you go. You don't have to listen to me waffle on. See what he does here. If he goes in, he might do a Yui, come back out, or he might curl up in there if he likes it. Looks like he's sort of curling up. Oh, how cool is that? Oh, I forgot to show you guys before he goes. Have a quick look at that. Quick look at that. He's got an injury there. Just keep this in mind. Injury there and an injury on the back of his tail there. Just keep that in your mind. That's for fact number 10. I completely forgot about that. I wanted to get some phone pictures, but I'm not going to hassle him any longer. Look at that. Go grab the phone, shine the torch and see what he's up to, eh? Then we'll carry on. And it looks like he's just continuing through, but oh no, there he is. He's coiled back around on top of himself. Oh, that means he likes it. You like it if you're curling up in there, don't you? Oh, that's epic. The amount of holes, hollow logs, rocks I stick my head in, I've never found a python curled up like that. I've only ever hurt them crossing the road. Oh, he's literally curled up in there. How cool is that? And this is going to be perfect for him for tonight. We got a few nice days. It is winter, but there's a few nice days. He can come out, curl up here. The sun's going to be rising there, so he's going to have the whole day to do what he wants, essentially. Oh, but that is epic, guys. How cool is that? And he likes it. That's a thumbs up, I reckon. Oh, he's sticking his head back out to look at me now. How cool is that, guys? We'll leave him to his devices and just let him do what he wants, but that's perfect size for him. Imagine a bandicoot or something goes to go in there tonight. He just goes whack and he's got to feed straight away. He doesn't need one. He's that fat. All right, see you, dude. I'm glad I was able to bring you so close to home. I'm so happy with that. I just forgot to get a look at your injuries. That's all right. See you, buddy. Alrighty, so fact number 6. These guys actually have quite a large home range. The male's about 45 hectares and the female's about 20. These guys have site fidelity, which means they'll return to the same basking areas, hunting areas, brumation areas, year after year. And a perfect example of this is actually a diamond python I got out of a car last season. Now this was a diamond python that this homeowner had come into her house year after year. It'd come in late autumn, climb up her tree and into her roof, and there it would spend the winter in the nice warm roof. But this particular year, she'd cut down those trees to clean up around the property. And she actually watched the snake go back and forth where this tree once was, until it obviously gave up, straight up into her car, into her bonnet. So she rang me and we got it out of the car, and she was happy to have it stay there, which was phenomenal because it obviously lives there. We actually got some timbers and we screwed them to the gutter, to the ground, so that snake could actually get up and go into a roof. And I should have some footage that I can overlay of that. But that was absolutely epic. So I'm sure those timbers are still there and that snake's up in that roof for this season as well. Now, number 7, and this ties exactly into why I've just done this, that, cuts and bruises, and now I'm cold and I'm gonna have to be trekking out of here in the dark, is because relocating snakes, reptiles is bad. Relocating pythons is bad, red belly's bad, it's bad. You need to keep these guys in their home range as close to the capture site as possible. Obviously without danger, obviously not in your local park if there's no bushland. You want to go your closest bushland because these guys really, really know their home range. If they move too far, what these guys will actually do, there's studies going on at the moment. There's some incredible work going on down in Canberra with tracking eastern brown snakes. I think it's the ACT Snake Project or something. Anyway, look that up, you'll be able to find it. If moved from their home range, these guys will actually travel and travel and travel till they find a site they're familiar with. And in that time of traveling, they're not going to be eating. They're going to be more exposed to predators. Obviously not here, but if it was more suburbia, they're going to be crossing roads at abnormal times, get run over by cars. It's just not good for the snake. So that is why I do what I do, and I spend all this time trudging through the bush, making a mess out of myself so I can give these guys the best possible chance at survival. Being here, this guy, he can go a couple 100 meters down there. It's pretty close back to where he was, back to his barn with his rats probably. Or he can go and live a more natural life with the other diamonds up in the escarpments. It's really up to him, but I've left that decision to him. I haven't dumped him in a place he's unfamiliar with, so that's what we need to do. Unfortunately, not all catchers are like this. There's a lot of catchers which I don't think could give a shit about the animal. They just want money. Capture multiple snakes, chuck them in bags, chuck them in the back of their utes, hang on to them for days. There's things you couldn't even imagine. Well, they go, all right, I've got 10 snakes, because they're just racing around going money, 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 money. Dump them all here at the end of the day, get rid of them all in the one spot. Guess what? Those snakes are going to potentially die a slow, painful death while they try and get back to their home range, if they haven't already died from the poor treatment in the care, if you want to call it that, of said catchers. I would absolutely love if everyone had to have some kind of wildlife care background to show that they actually do give a shit about the lives and the animals of these snakes, but things are changing. There's a lot of good people starting to get into wildlife care and snake catching, which is good. Whew. Tell you what, it's going to be a hell of a lot easier this walk back with an empty bag, eh? Especially the fact we're going uphill now. It's actually easier to go uphill sometimes, especially when you're out here in the scrub. When you're going down, you stumble and you clamber and you end up on your ass, and you watch, I've jinxed myself now. Got a good mission back. So what number are we up to? Fact number 8, I think. Now I wanted to talk a little bit about handling, but more so bites. Now you see a lot of time on the internet, this isn't catchers, this is just your regular Joe Blows. Oh, how cool is this? I caught this snake. I caught this python. They'll have it by the head. They'll be holding the head so tight, and that's doing nothing but causing damage to the snakes. You're going to block off his breathing. You're going to choke him. These guys don't bite. They literally don't. I've caught hundreds now. I've cared for hundreds of injured ones. I have been nipped twice, and for good reason. The first one had been run over by a car, and he was pretty bad. He ended up surviving. We got him stitched up at the vet, antibiotics. He was released a couple months later, but he survived. But obviously he's pretty pissed off. He's just been run over by a car. So I bagged him up. He was trying to bite me then, took him home, had a look at him. and I just had socks on. He's gone, boop. He's pulled the sock off my foot. I had to get it out of his mouth, but completely reasonable. I wouldn't be happy if I was run over by a car either. All the other ones I got that have been run over, they've been docile as buggeries, just little cranky pants. The other one, this is probably more commonly when they'd be nippy. This dude had a huge possum in his belly. Pretty sure it was probably a ringtail, and he was curled up, and the lady was, whoa. Did you see that? That little bird just flew past my head. Yeah, when they eat such a large prey item like that, they'll curl up. Oh, I'll just quickly show you. So you got all these little rocky outcrops which he's going to be able to duck into as he makes his way back to where he wants to go. Oh, look at that too. So many crazy good hiding holes. My word. Where was I? So they'll eat a big prey item, they'll curl up, basically protect themselves, defend themselves, because they're so full, they've got this huge belly, they can't move away very fast, so that's when they do have to resort to their bite. And I tried to move him around with my hook, move him around, and I could see him watching me, and he's just gone, dook, shot out, and he did. He just got my finger. It was nothing bad. If you guys ever do need to pick up a python, just do it gently. Just act like a tree. You don't grab the head, just gently pick up the body, move him off the road, move him to safety, because you're only going to piss him off and cause more damage than good. They're not bitey animals, not at all. They're nothing to be scared of. If they're on your property, please leave them. It's the best thing for the snake. And it's free pest control. Whew, alrighty, we're about halfway back now. It's getting dark. Let's have a rest and touch on fact number 9. Now, diamonds, much like other carpet pythons and pythons in general, eat very sporadically. These snakes can go months and months without feeding, even over 12 months, over a year without eating. I've had some in care for nearly 12 months, over 12 months, less than 12 months. It's really 50-50. You'll get some that'll eat frozen thawed. And obviously, being wild snakes, I haven't encountered that before. So some of them will turn their nose up. They won't eat frozen thawed quails. They won't eat rats. So if you get, I don't know, for example, I had a diamond python recovery video not long ago, and I had a deceased possum that was hit out the front of my house, unfortunately. I'd offered that snake food so many times. Took in the possum, bang, ate it straight away. I think it was a brush-tailed possum too, so it was probably about the same size as the snake we just released. A prey item like that, a food item, a possum, that would give the snake enough fat stores to last, I reckon, over 12 months. This all comes down to snakes being cold-blooded, ectotherms. It essentially means that metabolism works extremely slow. They don't need to burn off as many calories, heating themselves, digesting food, maintain body temperature, and just any basic functions. You could then also look at that with our snakes in captivity, our pythons in captivity. You see some, but it's bad with bearded dragons too, you see these animals are just so fat and obese every week, same time, same day, rat, 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 rat. That's not how these snakes are eating in the wild, and you got to keep in mind, your pet snake's probably in the 4-foot enclosure. Some people keep in tubs and racks, but let's not even talk about that. So your snake in captivity is eating week on week on week, and it can only move around like this. These snakes in the wild, they're eating every couple months. Sometimes they'll take a meal every couple weeks. It just depends when the meal's available. But they've got all this to move around in. A lot more time and space to burn off that energy. And they're eating so much less. That would attribute to things like fatty liver disease, other diseases in captive animals. And yeah, just something to really keep about for any, not just python keepers, any keepers in general. Especially beardy keepers. Oh, you see some fat ones of them. It's bad. Jabba the Hutt bearded dragons. Alrighty, let's keep heading back up. I reckon once we're at the car, we'll get stuck into the 10th and final interesting fact. Hopefully I'll make it up there before the Blue Mountains panther comes and gets me, the big cat. Now I'm just babbling. I'll see you up there. I've just been checking out these caves on the way back. Have a look at this. Look at that. Does anyone know what that is before I tell you? That is epic. It is huge. Look at that. It's a male lyrebird feather. That is so cool. So they put out their feathers and they'll do a little dance, try and court the females. That's epic. That is so cool. Tempted to keep it. Now these are the Aussie birds that can mimic literally any bird. Any bird. They'll do kookaburra laughs, magpie calls, currawong calls. Hell, they'll even mimic a car or a doorbell. They're just the masters of mimicking. I've only spotted a few of them. A couple in the Blue Mountains, a couple down at Winnie Creek near me, but how cool is that? That is epic. We're nearly back now. I've just spotted something else cool. So it's an old poo, a very old poo. Now I'm not a poo specialist, but it's obviously a carnivore. Could be snake or lace monitor. What else could it be? Owl, bird of prey? Not too sure, but you got the hair in the poo, sort of like when your python does a poo. And then you got all these bones, little bones throughout it. Look at that. That looks like, surely it's a claw. It's like a little lace monitor claw. What do you reckon? Bloody interesting poo, eh? I just saw another claw there. There's another claw. How interesting is that? That's gotta be a monitor claw, surely. That's too big for a beardy. Got the hair, the fluff of a rat or something. Possum. There could be possum claws, 100%. That could be a possum claw, without a doubt, actually. That would make sense with the hair. Yeah. How cool is that? Oh, a path. Isn't that a sight for sore eyes, eh? And there's our sun. So we're back up on top of the peak now. Isn't it wild how much longer the other side of the mountain gets the sun for? Where is our vehicle? Imagine if it was gone. Imagine if someone stole it. Or if my keys fell out of my pocket somewhere. Oh my God. There she is. There's the old girl. The Hurtmobile. Alrighty, let's get cozy and get stuck into fact number 10. On to fact number 10, our last and most definitely not least, probably the most important, to be honest. Now I want to touch on injuries, how resilient these animals are. Probably something regular viewers have heard me babble on about multiple times. In my opinion, our Australian pythons, probably all pythons, have to be the most hardy, most resilient, strongest, bravest, toughest animals in the world. The things these animals can endure are just mind-blowing. I've had so many snakes in care run over by cars and they survive. They'll get degloved, we stitch it back together, they get released. Some of them don't even get degloved. They get run over and they're like, oh, I'm a bit sore. And then a day later, they're fine. It's just mind-boggling. Attacked by dogs. As long as their spine doesn't break, then they're okay. If their spine breaks, it's like a person. You'll never walk again with a broken back. The snake's pretty much the same. They'll hold half of their body's dead. And it's just phenomenal how strong these snakes are. Which brings me into where I wanted to show you the injury on that snake. Now, that was such a big, large, robust snake. He'd be around, he'd probably bloody 20 plus years old, that snake. And he had a huge scar on the back end of his body. Hopefully you can see it in the little clip I got. It would have been a huge laceration at some point, whether a wild dog got him, a dingo, a fox, whether it was run over by a car. And that is just healed without human intervention. Unless he's one of my old cases, but I doubt it. And then you could see his tail sort of started to shrivel up, so that had some kind of injury too. He's completely fine. He's one of the fattest, biggest headed diamond pythons I've ever seen. So just how resilient they are is just incredible. If you're ever worried about one, please make sure you call your local wildlife rescue, snake catcher, have someone look at it. If it's been run over by a car, don't go, oh, it's just gonna die in the bush. Call someone. It's free. There's volunteers, Wires, Wildlife Arc, Sydney Wildlife, whatever ones are out there. Someone will come out, have a look at the snake, go over the snake, see if it needs care, see if it needs vet intervention, and then it'll be released back into the wild, because you're going to give that snake a much larger opportunity of survival than if it does have an injury. Slithers off the side of the road and just dies a slow, painful death. And these guys can live so long with such bad injuries. There's one I've never shown you guys because it was just so gruesome. I don't even think I'll show it now because it's nasty. If you want to see it, message me on Instagram. For scientific purposes, it's extremely interesting. Newbies Wildlife on Instagram if you don't have it. Essentially, I had a call for a diamond python someone found in the bush. And where they were walking through it had actually been backburned. They told me, oh yeah, the bit of the tail's burnt, and I was like, oh, it should be fine. I'll go check it out anyway. Essentially, the whole back of the snake had been burnt out. Probably a hole like that, like where his cloaca was, completely burnt out into a huge hole. So his bum. I lifted it up, I squeezed it. It was just full of maggots, hundreds and thousands of maggots, and it was gruesome. Essentially, this snake had been burnt. Maggots had come in, and they were eating this snake alive from the back end all the way up. I couldn't believe it. These guys just take so long to die, and that goes back to that metabolism. Can be good for them in some instances, but it can be so bad in other instances. And even sadder, I actually looked up when that back burn was done, and it had been done like 3 weeks prior. So that snake had been like that for 3 weeks, and obviously he was missing internal organs. He had to be euthanized immediately, but at least we could put him to peace, put him out of his pain. But yeah, they're just such phenomenal creatures. All our reptiles are. Our lace monitors are almost just as tough as our diamond pythons, our pythons in general. Hopefully that's something a little bit different that you've enjoyed. Let me know if you want to see this with different species when summer rolls back around. If you want to see it with a red belly, with a brown, with, I don't know, a gecko, anything, let me know. If it's boring, let me know. But I'm starving, I'm thirsty. I'm going to head back down the mountain and get some grub into the belly. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, tagging along with me each week. Got some cool stuff coming, so hopefully I'll see you guys next week. I'll see you then. Cheers, guys.